Alright, so to test flow charting techniques, we're going to use an example. The example is I want to compute my salary. I want to compute a salary. And for that I need to know the hourly rate and the number of hours that the person has worked, right? We know this. And the salary is just a multiplication of the hours worked times the hourly salary. So we're going to create a flowchart diagram to actually compute that. So if you were to communicate to someone who doesn't speak your language how to compute a salary, one way that you could do it if this person knows about flowcharts is you can draw a flowchart. And it would go something like this. First, you would have your start symbol. That's where the process starts. Then you know that then you will have some hourly rate. That's going to be, I don't know, $6 an hour, right? And then you will have the number of hours worked. Which is going to be, say you worked 40 hours a week, so it'll be, say, 1 week, right? So that'd be 40 hours a week, okay? Now, that's the first process, is just to assign these values. We know that we have these values. And the second part of the process involves actually computing the salary, right? So then the salary will be the hourly rate times the hours worked, right? So that's how you compute a salary. And then we stop. Okay? That's one way of thinking about this process, right? Just like that. Now, if you were a computer program, you want to do more. You want to actually read the salary, read the hourly rate, read the number of hours worked, compute the salary, and then display it to the user, and then stop the program. And for that, we can have an alternate diagram here that can go, for example, like this. We'll have our start symbol. We'll start. So then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to read the salary. But if we read the salary, then how do we assign it to something? So what we need instead is to start this and first declare a couple of placeholders, right? So this is going to be a process now. It's not an input, and you go fixing things. But once you have the flow chart correct, then it's easy to go to program. So you have a symbol, and we're going to use a number that is going to be the hourly rate, and that number can be we can have decimal points or whatever. So we have that. Then we're going to have another placeholder which will hold the hours worked, right? And we're going to have another placeholder for the salary. Those are three things that we're going to need. We just set them. We tell the computer we're going to need them. And the next thing I want to do is to read these things from the user, read some of these things. So the first thing I need to read is, read the hourly rate. That's the first thing I'm going to read. Then I'm going to read the hours worked. So basically, when I read hourly rate, read hours worked, then I'm putting these values here. Okay. So read the hourly rate, read the hours worked. Then I'm going to compute the salary, right? Salary equals hourly rate times hours worked. Hours worked. And then the next step here is to output this. So then I'm going to output print in the screen, print, I don't know, print S, print your salary, and then stop. So we effectively created a diagram in which you can see that we start the process, we'll have some placeholders for salary, hourly rate, and hours worked. Then we're going to read some number into hourly rate. Then we're going to read some number into hours worked. Then we're going to compute the salary, hourly rate times hour worked, and then we're going to print that salary, and then we'll stop. And that's our program. And in the Java video about variables, you'll see us actually executing this, creating and programming this example. This has only these components that are new from our previous diagram, okay? Which you had given the hourly rate and the hours worked. Here we're just getting it. Here we're just getting it from the user. You read it from some input from the keyboard, and you read this from the keyboard as well, and you print. Okay. In a flowchart, you should be at least at the beginning. You should be very specific and read a number from keyboard and put read a number from keyboard for HR, for hourly rate. Read a number from keyboard for hours worked, which is going to go there, and then a salary, then print S. That is our flowcharting basics.